What's going on, listeners with attitude? Welcome to a very special edition of the MWA Presents. I am your host with the most, Mr. Joe Mama. Joined with me, as always, are my brothers from other mothers. Right here to my this way, Samson West, the man who's allergic to traveling east. How are you, buddy? What's going on?
Oh, man, I still can't get over the east. It's really hit my sinuses.
Word. The man who's the power bottom tonight down below us is the bearded kaiju himself, the Stalapi Poppy. What's going on, Eric? How are you?
I'm doing good, man. I'm excited to talk about this because it was something. It was something. So can't wait.
Oh, he says it was something. That makes me think that maybe he doesn't like it. Oh, we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, me too.
Well, before we get going, Eric, if you would be so kind to pull up, share your screen. We here at the MWA, if you guys could do us all a huge favor, embrace all things attitude with the Monsters with Attitude clothing and swag line. Go to tpublic.com and search MWA. That's MWA. Don't type in Monsters with Attitude in the search bar. Rep your favorite podcast, and give your swag a little attitude. Help support our show and help us keep growing. Got a bunch of cool designs down here, as well as different designs for t-shirts, big and tall. Hey, if they can fit my burly butt, they'll fit yours too. So do us all a huge favor. Help us continue to grow. Check out our shop at tpublic.com. Search MWA. All right. Well, tonight's show is going to be a good one. We are discussing, I will say right from the get-go, this is going to be a spoiler discussion for Monarch Season 2, Episode 1. There's a lot to get into. I just want to say it again, give everybody a chance to tune out or come back later if they want to watch, but this is going to be a spoiler discussion. So we were going to get into it in 3, 2, 1. All right, here we go. Monarch Season 2, Episode 1. Episode 1 is called Cause and Effect. So I just want to know, kind of right from the get-go, your guys' initial thoughts, first time viewing this. How many times have you viewed it? I know there's some Easter eggs and stuff in this season. We're going to get to that in a little while. We're going to talk about each one of the characters in the story. And the monsters, of course, that's why we're all here. But just initially, right from the get-go, after your first or maybe second viewing, what do you guys think? Samson?
I was pleasantly surprised with how this one began, seeing as how the episode 1 of season 1 was relatively slow. So yeah, it was awesome. I like the pacing. I like what happened as quickly as it happened. And I can't wait to see more. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to what's to come next week. Next week is going to be, can't wait.
I know it's hard having to wait a week between episodes. I'm used to binging, waiting till shows are seasons are done, and then just binging them all at one time. It's pretty rare for me to watch week by week, but this I'm just too excited for Monarch, and I don't think I'd be able to avoid spoilers, so I have to watch as soon as it comes out. Eric, what about you, bud?
Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised because they threw you right into the action. It picked up right as season 1 got done, which I absolutely love. We don't need all this going around and re-explaining the characters or what's going on, this and that. We don't need that. We need to go immediately into the action, and they delivered, honestly, to a T. And they kept that pace where they had me hooked. They had me engaged the whole time. There wasn't really a lull. And immediately there was kaiju-ness right away, which I absolutely love. And they kind of would sprinkle it every now and again, and, got Kong in there and stuff. So it was really nice. It was, like Samson said, paced really well. It hooked me right away, and I kind of wanted to keep on going, honestly. And I'm like you, Joe, I do not watch weekly shows. This is trash. I hate trash. I hate weekly shows. I don't like it. I like binging. I like binging my stuff so I can watch it all and I'm satisfied and I know I'm done with it. This watch and wait crap, I don't like it. I don't like it, but I'm going to do it just because of you guys and I want to discuss everything. So, but overall, it was a great start.
I agree. I will say that my initial thoughts were nothing in this overwhelmed me or surprised me, and I think that was because this is actually gonna kind of sound like a negative, but it's actually meant to be a very positive anecdote or opinion on the first episode. Nothing surprised me because a lot of what we saw in the trailers for Monarch was from this episode. So there wasn't a lot of like new scenes or whatever that really kind of stuck out to me or made me go wow, because we had already seen that in the trailers and TV spots leading up to it. Now again, I know that's going to sound negative, but I actually think that's a positive. This is a 10 episode season, and if the majority of your scenes that you used to promote were from the first 1 or 2, maybe 3 episodes, that means you have a potential for 7 to 8 episodes of almost all new footage, which is so smart that they did. So initial thoughts definitely left me wanting more. I thought it was very good, fast paced, which actually kind of leads into my next topic here. My next thing is the story, and just some pointers. A few things that I threw out there was it was fast paced and to the point. Eric, I believe you just said that, to where they didn't waste a whole bunch of time going back through what happened in season 1. This is definitely a show where they expect you to have seen season 1. They expect you to know who these characters are. They didn't even go back and remotely touch on the characters' backstories, really. Like, they expected you to know what the Randa family dynamic was. They expected you to know who Kong was, who Godzilla is. They expect you to know that Wyatt and Kurt Russell are playing the same character from different time spans, and that there's time jumps in this show. And I actually like that. I found that very refreshing, that there was very little or no wasted breath in the there was no filler. There was no wasted movement and breath in the telling of the story, which I thought was really good, which is kind of why I was like, gets going and doesn't waste time. Eric, again, I think you said this, maybe Samson, you did too, picks up literally minute 1 to where season 1 ends and goes right from there. This is almost literally like a direct continuation of season 1, which is cool. I will say this, the return to Skull Island, I thought was built up a little bit better in season 1. I know we opened with them being on Skull Island in this, but I just felt like there needed to be a little bit more gravitas, and I hope we feel that going forward in the story, in the just the mythos of Skull Island. So much has happened there, whether it be on Kong Skull Island or the storm overtaking it, and all of this stuff. So that is one thing I would like to see. But Eric, I'll go to you. I will go to you. Easy for me to say. English is my first language. Eric, I will go to you first this time on the story. We already touched on the fast pace and stuff, but overall, how do you think it did, laying the framework? Another interesting point I wanted to make, I'm sorry, is that they got right to getting Lee Shaw out of the Axis Mundi. They didn't waste any time on that either, which I was like, oh, okay. A lot of things that I was expecting in episodes 3, 2, 3, 4 happened in this episode, which goes to my point of them showing a lot of things in the trailer just from this episode. So far with what we've seen, Eric, how are you feeling about the story?
Good. Like I said, it's everything looks and sounds really well. I like that they started where they did. And there's just these little things especially about Skull Island that you kind of learn. that obviously we already knew because we have already had that time jump. We already know kind of what's going to happen in the future. But some of these little Easter eggs that they threw in there that maybe a lot of people didn't catch was very, very smart and very methodical, I think. Because if you didn't catch it, you might not have understood what's going on. Or if you didn't, you might not understand, okay, why this happened in the future. And I like that. I like that they're just kind of throwing these things in there that you really have to pay attention to understand kind of what's going on or what's going to happen next. And I do dig that because it gets, and you have to pay attention. You have to be engaged in the story and what's going on to really know what is going to happen. So I do like that. Overall, the story so far is good. I like that they got Shaw out of there. Season 1 was a lot about Axis Mundi. We don't need to go back there. We can go back there at a later time, but we kind of already established it. We kind of know it's this weird time, place, dimension, whatever you want to call it. And so we kind of already know what it does to you. So we don't need to redo that. So I like that they're not tracing their steps to establish again, because that's just that the engagement of the audience just kind of falls. In my opinion, that's kind of how I see it. So I do like that they're doing that. And so far, the story sounds good. I'm curious about these new little creatures, these scarabs, I think they're called. We kind of got a little touch on those and stuff. So, they're kind of setting that up, which is nice. Set up kind of how Titan X came to the modern world and what caused it. So yeah, just kind of a lot of cause and effect kind of things going on that I really dug. So like I said, it has me engaged and intrigued for sure.
Excellent. Sammy, what are you thinking?
Yeah. I'm happy that it got just right to the point. As soon as the series began, we didn't have like like 1 week later from the end of the first season. The story's picking up strong. I don't know how much more I can add that you both haven't already said. Getting Shaw out of there almost immediately instead of 3 episodes later, like that wasn't like the main drive for the series. Like, oh, we have to figure out how we're gonna get him out. It was like, boom, he got out of there. Titan X got out of there as well immediately. And I like the mythology from the bouncing back and forth. So the 1960s. When was it this time? Where they're at the Hispanic village? Was it 60s or 70s?
68 was it? I believe 68. I think something like that, if I remember correctly.
But yes, them bouncing back to that and the mythology behind the villagers and them worshiping this quote unquote Titan X, and it being the reason why they have the bountiful fish and marine life and like the livelihood they have, like it's a god to them. But it begs the question: how did it wind up in Axis Mundi instead? Like, how is that aspect of things going? And I can't wait to see where we're going to go. And Kong immediately getting mad at people for messing with his environment, and I guess we're going to see how maybe we get him off Skull Island and fighting with this thing, because he was mad when he looked up at the helicopter, kind of like the WTF, like, what did you guys do? What was that? Why'd you bring that into my realm, man? Come on. So I like the characters, and as you said, Joe, the fact that we didn't have a whole like backstory, like a long drawn out, let's get reintroduced to everybody. It was like, you know who they are. We already had a whole season that did that. Let's go. Let's get into the action aspect. Let's not do the build up anymore. We're gonna get into the creature aspect this time. It's gonna be more creature driven than human story driven like season 1. I'm hoping. So I'm really pleasantly happy with what we got. And next Friday is going to be a very far away.
For sure. I just to piggyback off of what you guys were saying, another reason why I think it's so great that they just made this episode pretty fast and to the point. If you noticed in the trailers, we already know Lee Shaw's getting out. He's driving some type of boat or speedboat or something. So this is really great to me that it's like, okay, we're not wasting 2-3 episodes dragging something out that, is just to where it gets boring, or you're just like, come on. Like, there is none of that. This episode lays the groundwork. It sets a nice table for a hopefully very delicious meal later in the season. And fingers crossed they keep up on it. I want to go over the characters real quick. The central ensemble from the first season returns to continue their journey across dual timelines. We have Anna Sewa as Kate Randa, Kurt Russell as Lee Shaw, Wyatt Russell as young Lee Shaw, Ren Watabe as Kentaro Randa, Kersey Clemens as May Aloe Hewitt, Cora, whoever the hell. Hey, Cora, interesting. Mari Yamamoto as Dr. Kiko Mura. Anders Holm as young Bill Randa, Joe Tippett as Tim. That was from Wikipedia, as you can see. I copied and pasted. Returning a supporting cast is Takehiro Hira, which is Hiroshi Randa, Mureli Taylor as Natalie Verdugo, Dominique Tipper as Brenda Holland, and Tamlin Tomita as Caroline Randa. Pretty much everybody from season 1 is back, as we've talked about. They pick up right from the get-go. I don't really think we need to go in depth onto every character. Maybe some general statements, or if there is something specifically you guys want to say about a character, by all means, go ahead. I will say this. I am still way more drawn to the old timeline cast. Yeah, the Kurt Russell, Keiko storyline, Bill Randa, as well. I'm sorry, Wyatt Russell story, and then in the modern times, still very much Kurt Russell. The young three really. Nothing happened that really changed my mind from the first season about them yet. There's still a lot of season left to go. I hope that my mind does get changed. Anna Sewa, I think, is the one that has the best potential out of those three. The other two, I just honestly, I'm like, if they get killed, I think it would actually probably help the story, as horrible as that sounds. But yeah, that's all I kind of want to say on the characters. I will say this: we had our first death, which again in the trailer we kind of pointed that out with our review reaction to the trailer. That it looks like there was a death, and it's Natalie Verdugo, the deputy director of Monarch. Shouldn't be too much of a shock that it was her. I think it was kind of shown in a quick snippet from one of the trailers, but also you had to get her out of there some way to make room for the people we know take over for Monarch in the future coming up here. So, but yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to say about the characters. Samson, is there something you would like to add about the characters at all?
Nothing so far. No, nothing really. Like you said, the past cast is the best, and I mean, come on, Kurt Russell. That's like the driving factor. The fact that he's the main character alongside his son in the show.
Yeah,
I agree. From season 1, the younger cast bothered me. It was like the weak point of the show and kind of made me not like season 1. So, yeah, it was neat seeing that Cher impersonator getting yeeted by Titan X in this episode.
He said Cher impersonator. Eric, anything you want to say on the characters?
Just real quick, I was gonna mention about the first death, but you did already cover that. So yeah, that was kind of a point that was kind of surprising, I think, at the same time, but it happened, and it makes sense because we will get a replacement, obviously. But yeah, I just kind of agree with the way they went about episode 1 and getting Lee Shaw, Kurt Russell out of there. Because honestly, in my opinion, he is the strongest character in the show. So you cannot have a show where it takes you 5 episodes to get him out of there, and he's only on screen a third of the time. Like he is the main. Obviously with his son Wyatt, obviously them playing the same character, we get that. But he is the driving force for the cast, honestly, and getting him out of there just makes it a lot better, because going forward in these episodes, It's just going to mean a lot more when we see the modern day characters on screen with Kurt and Lee Shaw, and it's just gonna go smoothly, honestly. And honestly, it was. The other thing I will say is that for the characters, Anna Sewa as Kate, um, at the same time, her develop like I understand and I get what she wanted to do and why she wanted to do it, because she was trying to save him like he saved her. She did what she did because of what he did. You know, he wasn't necessarily the bad guy in the first season, even though that's kind of what everybody were kind of thinking at first, but he really wasn't, because there was meaning, there was thought behind what he was doing. But it's interesting how strong of a connection she formed with Lee and why she wanted to sacrifice so much to save him. Like I said, maybe it was, an eye for eye kind of thing, where you save me, I save you kind of thing. Or, she just really liked him and didn't think that he was really a bad guy. So it'll be interesting to kind of see that relationship form as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. If there's nothing else you guys want to say about characters, I'm going to move on from here. Of course, the big attractions are the Titans, or the kaiju. Kong is here. Obviously, here's just a little rundown. At the end of Monarch Legacy of Monsters Season 1, the characters Kate, May, and Keiko emerged from Axis Mundi into our world in the year 2017, and they didn't just emerge anywhere. They came out the other side on Skull Island, the infamous home of Kong. And we got a brief cameo at the very angry Titan at the end of the cliffhanger episode. Monarch Season 2's first episode opens with Kong's rampage on a Monarch facility on this island. Excuse me. Kong is not happy about these intruders. I'm going to have to cough. So, Eric, if you wouldn't mind your thoughts on Kong's performance for this episode.
Yeah, absolutely. So it was interesting that initially, right off the bat, like we said, we started from the end of season 1. Kong was super aggressive, way more aggressive than I think we've seen him thus far in the Monsterverse, which was different, because I understand people were there on his island, and maybe because he wasn't used to people being on his island, maybe that was what it was. But it was a little bit weird that he was as aggressive and violent as he was. I'm pretty sure that opening scene, he actually stepped on a few people, if I'm not mistaken. So just a different kind of character and portrayal of Kong that we haven't seen before, very more animalistic that we haven't seen. And maybe it's honestly because we haven't been introduced into Gia yet, where maybe Gia was the catalyst that kind of honed in his aggression, his his animalistic nature, and she kind of calmed him down a little bit more. Maybe that's maybe we're gonna see Gia in this season, because let's face it, she is on that island somewhere, as one of the Iwi. So I mean, maybe she is going to be one of the driving force to kind of calm him, to kind of control him a lot more. yeah, I know. It's just something I thought about, honestly.
Can I interject it and give you props for that? I'm gonna give you your flowers for that, Eric. Maybe I'm so used to the past 2 films that we've seen Kong in that the island's gone. They get Kong off the island in Godzilla vs. Kong, and then in the New Empire, he's already in Hollow Earth. It didn't even dawn on me that the Iwi are still technically on this island and surviving alive, or at least as far as we know, and that he may not have met Gia yet. So yeah, kudos to you, because I totally glossed over that. Didn't even register. Sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to say that was a great point.
Yeah, it's just kind of something that kind of hit me. It was just very off-putting, because we're just not used to that, seeing that kind of Kong. So I was like, oh, there's maybe a connection there. So yeah, interesting kind of portrayal of Kong thus far. And it'll be interesting to see if we do get a lead up of the introduction of Gia in this season, which would be really cool. But yeah, there's other thoughts that I kind of have on other things, but I'll leave it at that. So yeah, just kind of my thoughts on how I thought Kong. And honestly, side note, the opening scene was great. I thought the whole thing was shot excellent. That scene where, you know, that helicopter, they're going and he's leaving and he kind of turns around and makes eye contact with them. That was great. That was amazing. Like, you could see the ferocity in his eyes on how mad he was. Probably wasn't towards the people and the humans, but obviously other things that were going on that was kind of shown a very little snippet from Kiko, I believe, was the one who pointed it out. So there's other things kind of rustling in the grass, as you will, and maybe why he acted the way he did. But yeah.
Samson.
Yeah,
as a fellow Kong hater.
his anger was definitely shown. But wait, Eric, you forget in the actual Kong Skull Island movie, when the helicopters, he was pretty ferocious against them, killing and knocking down and taking them all out. So we have seen him in a level of territorial anger in the past. And this is, as you said, yeah, that whole thing about, the only thing that I think that's a little weird, if they did bring her back, how many years has it been since we saw her on film? So this is supposed to be in the past, so she's supposed to still be a kid. So how could they implement that if she looks like she's like almost a teenager now instead of a child? That would be the one thing. I mean, I like your idea. I love it. I'm not dissing her. It's just looking at it from that aspect. I'm like, how could they do it unless they did like a de-aging or something like that, or a different little girl? So is that?
Go ahead, Eric.
Yeah. No, tell me what you're going to say.
So I want to dispute you. So the reason why Kong was the way he was in Skull Island was because they were dropping bombs on his home territory. They pissed him off. In this season, they didn't do anything. They were just there observing. Okay, so there is a complete difference to just going off on a tangent or cause and effect. Like I said, where someone's doing something to you, you're going to do something back. So I mean, if someone's going to come destroy your house, wouldn't you get mad and start throwing trees at helicopters too? I mean, come on.
True, but also
go ahead, Sammy.
With the Axis Mundi thing, we saw it towards the end of the episode when they opened the portal or whatever. It sent a shockwave across the island that hit Kong and it woke him up and he was like, the hell. So maybe that's also why, because when they brought back our characters at the end of season 1, shockwave went across the island and he felt it and was like, I don't like that. I'm gonna go check it out. And then he sees all these people and he's like, oh, y'all did that? I'm gonna attack now because I don't like you guys doing that on my island. So there's maybe that. It's not a full on bomb, but it is people disrupting the natural flow of things on his island, and he just didn't like it. So it could have sent him into a rage.
You're talking about two different incidents. One was in the beginning of the episode. The other one was in the middle of the episode. So
no, I know, but that's what I'm saying. Why he went off at the beginning, because they did the Axis Mundi thing and opened the portal and it sent a shockwave. So maybe that's just maybe some of the validation behind it. But no, I do love his ferocity. And when they were on the ship, I believe Curly Hair McGee, Cher knockoff, said that 16 deaths, blah blah blah, in the ICU and something. I think I remember 16 was the number of deaths. So he killed 16 people in that little onslaught, and then put people in critical condition, and then some whatever, I can't remember. There was 3 things she said, but 16 was the big number of how many people got killed in that incident. I'm looking forward to where we're going to go with this, because as I stated earlier, when Titan X came out, it immediately went in the ocean, and Kong was trying to chase after it. Like, what are you doing? Why are you here? And then he looks back at the camera. Oh, man, we're getting some... Even the way he moved was more animalistic. He did like the running on all fours a little bit more ape-like than he has in previous iterations, because we kind of see him on his 2 feet a lot of the times in Godzilla versus Kong and New Empire. So he is more animalistic, and I like it. I'm vibing with it so far, and want to see how he's going to implement that into the kaiju fights and whatnot.
For sure. Well, there is something I want to say about Kong, but I'm going to get to it in a minute, actually, when we discuss some other Titans, which there was more than Kong.
Mm.
We have the introduction of the Vine Rat or the Vinorat. I don't know, however you want to pronounce it. You have the Scarabs, which I can't help but think is Monarch or Legendary's version of the Chakras from '85. We have the electric bat and bird thingy that he ate, and the antler boar from season 1. Sammy, me and you, or you and I should say, grammar, we're talking about this before we hit record, and you actually brought up the whole chakras thing, and I said, oh, we'll get there, bud. So I want to turn the floor over to you. Hear what you got to say about some of these little cameo creatures we saw.
Yeah, for sure. I was surprised that our Hispanic villagers didn't drop that Easter egg, calling it the El Shakiris or something like that. I was like, oh man, that it's a sea louse kind of, but Scarab is a more appropriate name too, I guess. Like from like the Mummy. I just watched that recently. The Vine Rat was terrifying. That thing was gnarly and vicious and definitely give you a run for your money. But then I can't help to the electric bat, is that not just like the Mutadon from Jurassic World Rebirth, but with electricity in its mouth this time? How is it not just the same thing?
So I actually think that bat is an Easter egg for Kamazats from the graphic novel. But
not familiar.
It's from the Kingdom Kong graphic novel.
Okay.
And he fights this literally this gigantic bat thing.
Well, okay. And also that thing was just being a jerk. It came in, swooped down, electrified and bit this thing, and then dug out a grub and took off. So he was just being an ass. That's all it did. It didn't really actually want to eat the razor bird or whatever that thing is that ripped people apart in Kong Skull Island. It just attacked him because it wanted to. And yeah, it was neat seeing the boar and the arrow still stuck in its eye from when our girl shot it before it could attack our young characters. I'm still having a hard time remembering all the people's names.
Kiko.
Yeah. Kurt Russell facing off. I was like, oh man, what's going to happen? He pulls out a butter knife. Yeah, sure. Let's see what happens. What we can do with that. So it was neat seeing these new creatures, like to give the down to earth human level threat instead of just kaiju. Because yes, of course that's a threat, but something that's more personal and in the same realm of size to you. That's kind of freaky, for sure.
Eric, what are your thoughts on some of these smaller titans or megafauna, if you will?
Interesting for sure. The electric bat was interesting. Not gonna say that I was, a fan of it, but it was interesting to see, different mutations on this island. Obviously, we've talked about discovering and exploring Skull Island more to see what else is out there. So it's good that they're kind of bringing it out into us to kind of show us what's going on. The boar was cool, kind of another. I have a feeling that this boar is going to be returning a lot of times, not necessarily doing a lot of stuff, but just kind of making cameos here and there with different characters, because we've already gotten 2 interactions with 2 main characters thus far. I have a feeling he's going to keep turning up, maybe even later seasons, honestly. He's going to be a returning Titan for sure. The Vine Rat, man, that thing was scary. That was a scary dude. Like that thing is nasty. It kind of looked like a zombie rat, honestly. And then the Scarab. So you guys are thinking chakras. I'm thinking something else. I'm thinking something that pertains to the original Godzilla. Something that was discovered in his footstep on Odo Island. Something that, to me personally, has been mutated, and generations and generations of mutation or evolution. This is how I see this. I think this thing is a mutated, evolved form of a trilobite. Honestly, I think that this is kind of in that realm, because when that woman from the village takes them into that cave. You can actually see the fossils on the wall of trilobites, and I think this is a evolved form of it in some way. So that's what I'm taking from this little guy, which is really great. It's a real kind of nice little knock to, like I said, the 54 and the originating from the OG Gojira, and kind of shows you how old these things are, because trilobites was one of the first living organisms in the world, honestly. So just kind of shows that age and maybe how old they are, or even how old maybe Titan X is, because for some reason these things are drawn to it. Maybe we'll talk about that later, but it's just kind of interesting that these things are drawn to Titan X. So it would be interesting to see.
For sure. Yeah, I don't think it's going to be any surprise that Titan X will be our next slide, since we do get to see her. So yes, we can talk about all things Titan X and relationships to her coming up next. I'm just going to go through them real quick. Eric, I love that idea of the antler boar kind of being a little cameo throughout every season a couple times. If they travel to the Axis Mundi, or if something comes up from the Axis Mundi, it's always that boar with the arrow as like a little inside joke. Like that would be kind of cool, just as like a little fun tip of the hat. The electric bat and the razor wing, or razor beak, whatever we're calling it. I think it's cool. I mean, none of them, stand out as something that I think could go, toe to toe with a Kong or a Godzilla, something like that. But it's great to see the species expand and us constantly get all these new creatures. I think that's a great way to keep the mythos and the stories alive, is by introducing new. Scarab as the trilobite instead of the Chakras. Honestly, I would love if it turned out to be either. I think that's great. I definitely think more so Chakras, but Eric, you color me intrigued. We'll say that. Say that. Color me intrigued. And as far as the Vine Rat, Vinorat, whatever you want to call that ugly son of a gun, first thing my wife said when we watched it, I actually watched episode 1 last night and rewatched it again with her today, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, what is that? That thing is terrifying." She was like, "That's horrifying." And the whole time I was seeing it, I was getting the Shrewster vibes from Godzilla the series. And I was just like, man, like that looks so familiar. What is that? And then it just dawned on me. I was like, that's what it is. It's from Godzilla the series. I have no idea if it actually is meant to be or not, but to me, there's a lot of similarities there. So Eric, looks like you got something on your mind.
No, honestly, and another thing from animated series, there was the episode with the mutated rats. So, I mean, you're not far off. Honestly, you're not far off.
Right. Absolutely. Oh. It's let's see, giant bat, rat. Nope, there isn't one. I was seeing if there was a picture I could pull up real quick of the giant rat, but there's not. Yeah, I don't know. See, that's what's great about introducing some of these new creatures. I don't even know if you can consider them Titans because they're not large, but for the sake of this category, they will be considered Titans. But I think it's great that we continue to expand the roster for sure. Yeah. Moving on to the big gun, Titan X. In this episode, man, she's unleashed already. There is no waiting. She doesn't get unleashed in episode 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Nope. She's unleashed episode 1, which reaffirms the synopsis or the information that's been out there saying that this whole season is focused on finding her, fighting her, her lore, her origin, and expanding on it. And it sounds like they're going with that guns a-blazing, which I think is great. So yeah, like the first bullet point here says, she's unleashed. End of first episode. Bam, here she is. So now the rest is going to be dealing with the fallout. We hinted a little bit at her mythos. Eric brought up the I think it was you, Eric, brought up the cave painting with the fossils and stuff in it. You also had, or the cave, excuse me, with the fossils in it. You also had the cave painting where it showed that she's essentially, and it's even mentioned in there that she is essentially worshipped as a god. And that they have like this altar type thing set up for her, and it's covered in blood, and they make offerings. Whether, I mean, we don't know, is it animals, is it people, is it children? Like, I mean, that's not uncommon for lack of a better terminology, uncivilized societies sacrificing newborns or something to a volcano to stop it from erupting or something, right? So we don't know, like, how deep does this religion go? And obviously Kong does not like her. I put him, excuse me. But you guys talked about Kong being so angry. Eric, you pointed it out with Kiko pointing it out on that video. See, I don't think it has to do with the shockwave of the portal opening. I think it has to do with the scarabs and there is some type of visceral. I mean, the way Kong chased her and the way he looked at the humans in that helicopter, and then she dips into the ocean and excuse me, goes to swim away. And Kong turns and roars so angrily at that helicopter, like, what have you guys done? Like, to me, and this is just a guess because I obviously don't know, this is not the first time Kong and Monster X have come across each other. Something, I don't know, but like the way he went after her, that wasn't something that it's like, oh, what are you? Hey, I'm curious. Wait a minute. That was like a, oh crap, she's out. You know, she's back, she's out, she's, you know, this isn't good. So it definitely piqued my interest. So I forget who I went to first the last time, so I'm just going to go down the list. So Samson, thoughts on Titan X? We don't get a great view of her still, which I'm okay with. We have 9 episodes to go, and I'm sure we'll see a bunch of great money shots of her. But what are your thoughts, Sammy?
I do like them hiding her at the beginning where we don't get that great money shot, as you said. So it keeps the interest there so that we're all intrigued, like, oh man, I want to see this thing. Let's see what it does. Let's see what happens. What does it look like in full with the tentacles, and what is it going to do? What's its abilities? But how fast it fled, like it knew where it was going. That it definitely knew it was like the water. I got to get to the water right now. I don't know if that was an instinct or if it was or what. And yeah, Kong recognizing her. Yeah, there was some recognition there. He wasn't curious. He was like, "Oh, you're the one that wiped out my family." Or actually, I think that origin story it already exists, right?
Yeah.
But she so it is a she. Where'd you find that out, by the way?
It was I don't know exactly who released it, but it's been widely reported that it is a she.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
And with the scarab chakras, whatever we're gonna call them, it's almost like a hive mind way of being, because they're drawn to her. It seems like they immediately go in her direction. And you could even see that on the wall in the cave painting, because all the fossilized ones were like fossilized in the wall, kind of like in a wavy vein pattern towards the middle mural of Titan X. So there's some sort of hive mind relationship between the scarabs and her. And from the trailer, we know there's going to be an incident involving a bunch of these things, and that's probably going to be episode 2 next Friday. So can she control them? We don't know yet, but there's definitely a symbiotic relationship between the scarabs and her. And just an ocean kaiju. We haven't really seen much of that in the past, except for like Ebirah, and we got a split second of Tiamat in New Empire, which that fight didn't last long and it only happened underwater. So a waterborne kaiju, or an aquatic kaiju. This is going to be cool. I want to see what happens, especially since Kong does not like water. Apes are not drawn to water at all. They don't like it.
Well, thank you for that tidbit of information from National Geographic, Samson.
Because they're dense.
Yes, sir. That they're dense. Eric, what are your thoughts on Titan X? The relationship to the
moving on.
the relationship to the scarabs, all of that. There was something else you wanted to say, but I think you were holding out for this.
So firstly, I do like that they kept her full reveal kind of a mystery. I do like that because when you're watching something, you kind of want to see exactly what it looks like, and if you don't, it keeps you coming back for more. And that's exactly what it was. I'm like this. I'm like trying to like look to see if I can see a good look of her, and stuff, and I just couldn't do it. And so it makes me want to come back, which is very smart. So I do like that. It's interesting to know her backstory. Obviously, we're going to go more into depth as the season goes on. Why is she in this Death Ghidorah freaking rock cage, I guess you could call it, cocoon, whatever. Prison in Axis Mundi. Why is she there? How did she get there? What is her actual backstory? But to me, the scarab and her and the reaction with Kong has me thinking that, especially the scarabs and her, has me thinking that the species, whatever they are, is like an invasive species where they're not supposed to be there. They're a species that destroys and moves on. And I think Kong knows that in some way. I think that's why he was super upset about it. And that's why, in the beginning, he was literally trying to stomp or pound or punch or do whatever with the scarabs, kind of running around, but nobody ever saw them because they're so quick and stealthy and they're fast. So this could be an invasive species where, they're on Skull Island and they're not supposed to be, and he senses it, he knows it because it's his island, so I can see something like that where he's super angry, super upset because they let something free that's not supposed to be there, and so he's super upset about it. So I dig that. It gives more character and backstory to maybe these titans and these little scarabs. So, and yeah, what is the connection to these scarabs and Titan X? Does one depend on the other? Is one controlled by the other? Is one an offspring of the other? I'm not gonna say, but it's interesting because when she was coming out of her like cocoon prison area, they were running towards her, not away from her, running towards her, literally jumping off of Lee Shaw, doing some parkour and trying to get to her as fast as possible. So, yeah.
Mom.
Absolutely. There's a lot of the mythos here that I'm excited to learn about in future episodes for sure. But like you said, Eric, they were not running away, they were running to her. So there definitely seems to be some type of relationship or whatever there. I wouldn't be opposed to her having a swarm under her control. I think that would be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I actually said that, and I think it was during our review of the New Empire, is that's one thing that I was kind of missing, that I think that the Monsterverse needs, that in Infinity War, Endgame, all these big superhero, Age of Ultron, they have a bunch of foot soldiers for cannon fodder. And it's it's a great way to stall some time to make the end fights a little bit longer than they might be otherwise. But it's also a great way to show off some of your main, in this, heroes, in quotation marks, some of their skills, their fighting, like, cool slow-mo type hits and stuff. And I think that's one thing that the New Empire really kind of lacked, was like some type of great battle where Godzilla and Kong and Mothra, yes, it happened with them in the zero gravity area, but I'm talking on the ground, and you're seeing tail whips and heat rays and claw swipes, things like that. And hopefully maybe we could see something similar to that with Titan X. Is there anything else you guys want to say about Titan X before we move on?
No. Want to see more? Can't wait to see more.
Yep. Two things I thought were very, very cool in episode 1 here. Within the first 10 minutes.
Hold up.
Hold up what, Eric?
No, please explain. I want to know where this is going.
Which one? Point 1 or point 2?
Point 2 for sure.
Oh, you missed it.
You didn't catch it?
They name drop Pulgasari in the first.
No.
Yeah, and when they went to the pass and they were on the boat traveling to the Mexican island.
When it's Wyatt Russell, Keiko in the past back in like the late 60s, they're on the boat. He's like, oh, it was like a half pig and it ate this and that. What was it? And the guy's like, oh, it was Pulgasari from, and they're talking about yes. Yeah.
What is it?
Yeah, it's in the first 10 minutes or 15 minutes at most. It's the very first flashback to when we go back to Wyatt Russell and they're on the boat. They name drop Pulgasari.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I thought that was so cool. And it honestly, it was they probably name dropped him because the rights are that of South Korea or North Korea, whatever. And they're like, they're going to ignore the lawsuit because they're like, we don't give about Korea, like as far as their, tyrannical government or whatever, like, which is probably why they were able to do the little name drop. But I thought it was very cool that and I would love this if they actually continued this and maybe got the rights just as cheaply as possible. Name drop Gawanji. Name drop Gorgo, name drop Reptilicus, whatever some of these old creatures from these movies that are maybe offshoots of Godzilla or inspired by, and just expand that universe a little bit more. I'm shocked that you missed that, Eric. Yeah, that was. Sammy, do you have anything to say about Pulgasari since? I can't really ask Eric.
I caught the name drop. Yes, I did hear that, and it was like it took me a split second because I was like, "Wait, why do I know that now?" Oh, right, the movie I still haven't seen yet. So that was cool, and now it gives me an excuse to want to do that. But I didn't catch Disappearing Island. I didn't catch that. Yeah, somebody explained that one to me at some point.
Eric, I know you didn't hear the name drop or, see the little 20-30 seconds that they were talking about Pulgasari, but seeing or now knowing that this is in canon of the Monsterverse, what are your thoughts?
That's awesome. That's amazing. Like this is a kaiju that is literally shunned, I guess, from because it's made by a country that doesn't have the best track record, I guess you could say. But if you know the backstory about this character or who played this character, it does mean something in the Godzilla franchise and Godzillaverse, honestly, which is very special. So yeah, that's really cool. I didn't see it or hear it because I was watching it with my youngest, and she's kind of a talker when it comes to movies and shows. So I tried to focus and yet try to listen, and it's just like they're fighting each other. So I'll obviously go watch it again, and I'll hear it. So, but yeah, very cool though.
Yes. Unfortunately, I would say, I don't know, an hour or two before, because the season 2 actually came out Thursday night, for those of you who may not have been aware, which I don't think would be anybody at this point. There is some, and I'm not going to mention their names, but there are some well-known people who are content creators who got access to the first 2 episodes and spoiled this. And I kind of want to address it because I think that it is total BS that they did. And congratulations that your channels are that big that you can get access and you're considered part of the journalist or the critics or whatever that get early access to these things. But if you're going to do that, don't make posts like, oh, make sure you pay attention to episode 6 because there's a cameo that's going to break the internet. That's BS. Let us be surprised. You know, like, or don't throw up a picture of Pulgasari and then technically before the show even airs, because this was, you know, Thursday or something, or maybe Wednesday or something, and then say like, oh, keep it at, let us find it. You know, I just think that's, I don't know. I hate to sound whiny or whatever, but when we're not expecting to have to snooze your account and stuff like that is just up because you got to be the first one to get the credit for it. I just think I just think it's wrong. Because you spoil a surprise or an excitement for people that that could have enjoyed it naturally. But
yeah, exactly. No, you're not wrong. You're not. There's nothing that you said that it was incorrect. I didn't know because I kind of stayed away from Facebook anyways. But yeah, when people post pictures like you said, like a Pulgasari and say episode 1 without context. Well, now we're sitting there expecting. So anything's a spoiler for nerds. Everybody should know that. When anybody says, oh, guys, you pay close attention to the part where they're on the boat. Well, then now there's not any excitement or like there's nothing left to the imagination because we're like, oh, we're expecting something. So the excitement it's been taken away from us. So I had no idea that some content creators got early access to 2 episodes already. The first 2. That's wow.
Some of them have apparently watched all of it.
Yep.
Okay. Wow. Well, good for them, but no, keep that to yourself for us that have to wait the 10 weeks to watch it all.
And let me just say for the people that have watched it, they've already leaked what country the final battle takes place, what episode has a surprise cameo, a surprise monster cameo, and other things. They haven't been specific on what happens, but they've released enough to where it's just kind of like, why are you doing it? You know, and I just, to me, like, send it in DMs. Have your own personal website. Don't throw it on social media. That stuff's going to get shared like wildfire because it wasn't even their direct accounts at times that I saw certain thing, or friends of mine. I haven't personally been spoiled on very much at all, which I'm happy because I don't want to be. But I actually know a friend who did get spoiled on quite a bit. And he's like, I'm still going to watch. He's like, I'm still super excited to see it all. He's like, but, you know, I know what happened, you know, the big thing from this episode, the big thing from that episode. And he's like, it's kind of like takes the wind out. And I don't know, to me personally, again, not to sound whiny or whatever, but if I was Legendary, Warner Brothers, Apple, I guess technically this one, I would be certainly reevaluating who I let have early access to my show. It's unfortunate because going in completely blind and you heard Pulgasari, wouldn't that be like, oh my gosh, what? Like that would be like so cool. Sorry for spoiling it for you, Eric. I assumed you caught it. We didn't talk today. I assumed you caught it, but you know, yeah, I don't know. That's just my 2 cents on I guess the point of what I'm trying to say here is that there is a lot of spoilers going around. I've done a fairly good job so far, but we have 2 months and 1 week still for this series before it, or for the season before it ends. So I guess be careful because a lot of people are more concerned about the clout of them being one of the ones that got to see it all already. So,
and maybe it's not even that, because some younger fans out there that follow these bigger pages, they don't have that thought process. They're just excited, and they're going to share it everywhere saying, hey, I just found out that this happens in the series, you guys. So you need to be wary that younger fans don't have, they don't always hold anything back, and they're just going to be excited to post it on the internet themselves too, which will spoil it for us veteran fans that are really not trying to see that stuff. So I like what you said. Apple needs to reevaluate maybe who they're going to, they may need to be like, no, everybody watches it 10 weeks in a row, just like the rest of us.
Yeah. The other Easter egg, and this is totally just my headcanon, I have no idea. I just wanted to kind of get your guys' thoughts on this. The disappearing island from King of the Monsters. So what I'm referring to there is in the end credits of King of the Monsters, in one of those like newspaper clippings or news stories that go by when the credits are going, one of them talks about the Titans being lured to Skull Island, about Mothra's egg being found, a mechanical giant being built on Skull Island. But there's another one where, and I can't remember the exact headline of it, but it essentially says like what happened to this missing island, or the this island disappeared, or something like that. And I am wondering if the island that they are talking about that disappeared, that vanished off the face of the earth, is this Spanish island that we see where they worship Titan X. And I wonder if we are going to see how this island disappears, if they will maybe tie it together of this disappearing island. Thoughts, if any, if you guys are even familiar with that, some of the end credits of King of the Monsters, or 2 cents on my hypothesis.
I like it.
Yeah, I'm pretty great.
No, I didn't. I haven't put that, I guess, together. But yeah, I mean, it could be something, or it could be, one of those paper clippings or whatever, where they're like, oh yeah, the fauna is overgrowing, and maybe there's something there. Maybe that leads to Biollante. Maybe Biollante is this so-called island and is moving and kind of surfaces every now and again, and literally, like, she is literally just not like a Titan or kaiju, whatever. Like, she's literally an island now, because she's the whole ecosystem, and she's just kind of moving around, kind of thing. Maybe it's something like that. I don't know. I'm just throwing shit out here.
Fascinating.
Fans want Biollante to be in the Monsterverse so bad.
I know they
reason.
do. I know
they really do.
I think it's because she would fit so well with the world of Hollow Earth. Like, that she is literally Mother Nature itself type of thing. And yeah, I mean, there's just so many ways to introduce her in a extremely important role, I think. The last thing, I actually just remembered that I forgot to put this on here was, did you guys catch that Titan X has a name?
I
No.
did. They said it. I think it was the Hispanic lady, right? She said its name is
Grandiose,
but I didn't.
El Grandiose Delma.
I heard them say something, but I was like, what was that? And I was doing a watch party, so I didn't want to just like stop and rewind it and make everybody upset. But I did catch they said
I don't know what that means.
So yeah, I did catch it, but I didn't hear it. So yeah, interesting.
Yeah, she called it El Grandiose Delma, Melma, or something. But I don't know what that means. And
was here, you can tell us.
The sneaky SOBs at Apple turned the subtitles off during that scene, because I turned them on, and there was still no subtitles in there, and I was like, "You gotta be kidding me!" So we still don't know exactly what her name is, but it was mentioned. I just thought I would throw that out there. So all right, oh yes, sir. Please, by all means, Eric.
So there's something that we haven't really talked about that I think is another kind of Easter egg that I kind of want to bring up to you guys, real quick. So did anybody catch when the younger cast was going to Skull Island to save Shaw? Did anybody catch what? I don't remember their their names. I this cast. I just Kentaro and Hiroshi. Do you guys catch what they said? Especially when they anchored the boat and they turned around and they looked at
the storm wall closing.
The storm. So they said that they had 6 to 8 hours before it was upon them. So that means, and we already know in the future, this storm or a storm wipes Skull Island off the face of the planet. Okay. So obviously this storm combines and closes on Skull Island and wipes it out. Now, I don't know if anybody saw that or heard it, whatever, but it's very interesting to me because this could be the start of Kong leaving, the explanation and the footage of the iwi passing away, and again goes back to my thing with being Gia introduced into this series. So I just thought it was kind of interesting that they actually had like a time frame on when that storm was going to be on Skull Island. So just kind of wanted to hear your thoughts.
I caught the 6 hour part, but I don't remember which movie is that in that it says that the storm wipes it off the face of the earth. Is that versus Kong? It's versus.
Yeah, versus Kong. Yeah.
So I caught that 6 to 8 hour thing when they put the anchor in. Maybe I misunderstood what they said, Eric, but I took it as that. Excuse me. I apologize. My throat keeps going dry.
Want some Sprite?
I took that as that entrance way that they rode the boat was going to close in 6 to 8 hours. I could be 1,000% wrong, but that's just the way I took it. Because, and correct me if I'm wrong, this takes place in 2017, 2 years before King of the Monsters. We need Ghidra, him terraforming the Earth's atmosphere to force that storm to finally descend on Skull Island, right?
Gotcha.
So, dude, you could be 100% right. I'm just telling you how I took that. I took it as, hey, that little opening that we were able to ride the boat through, that's going to be gone in 6 to 8 hours. But fascinating, though, because we also do see in the trailer Godzilla running out of or charging out of a hurricane. Maybe that's the hurricane of Skull Island. Maybe it really does begin to, encompass the island before Ghidra, and maybe Ghidra's presence just intensifies the storm to where it actually starts destroying the planet.
Gotcha. Yeah. I'm just spitballing there. I just thought it was like, oh, maybe that's what it is. But yeah, it could be that. I always wondered why they got through the storm so easily. I was like, well, that's just uneventful. Like that was, I was like, what the heck? Like they just go right through. I was like, what? Did you just miss the storm? Like what's going on here?
That is one thing Mel even pointed out when we were watching it. She's like, they're expecting to get through the storm in that little boat, and then literally there's no even like them going over a wave. It's just them through it. And she looks at me. She's like, "What?" She's like, "No way."
They made the biggest deal in Skull Island about the helicopters going through that storm. So yeah, I thought that was weird too.
It was silly. Well, that does it for my slideshow. Real quick, you guys want to go and give your final thoughts, opinions, or is there anything else that we haven't talked about that you guys would like to quickly discuss? Oh, Eric, apparently there is something. Eric, I will go to you then.
I have a bold prediction.
Oh, okay.
Bold prediction.
Is this just for episode 2 or for the whole season?
No, for the whole. This is something that could happen at the end of the series. Okay, just a weird bold prediction here. Okay. So she didn't get a lot of screen time, I would say, in this episode. She kind of pushed aside, whatever. But May. Okay, so May was in it. You know, she didn't get a lot of screen time. You know, kind of focused on very little. And and whatever, but that's fine. But obviously we saw her talking to her sister, who is the director or a director or somebody in power at Apex. Okay. Who is still trying to recruit her sister. Okay. And May actually goes on and says, oh, she just wants to recruit me because of my algorithm or whatever. Okay. So I'm predicting that it could be this season, could be next season. I don't know how far this season is going to go, but I just have this prediction that May is going to be the one behind making Mechagodzilla.
Valid. With her technological expertise and stuff, I mean,
just kind of like I said, she has this algorithm that is very powerful, and people want it, and people are after her for it, but she won't give it to anybody, and she's very protective over it. And her sister wants her for her hacking ability, her computer ability, whatever. And obviously, she said for her algorithm. I just have this feeling that she's going to cave or go there or something, and she's going to be responsible for making the makeup or AI or programming of Mechagodzilla. So just a bold prediction. Yeah.
Fascinating.
I can see that coming to fruition.
I like this game. Samson, do you have any predictions for, after seeing the first episode, do you have any predictions for what the remainder of season 2 will bring?
Not really, because it was pretty fast paced and didn't really deliver a whole lot to go off of. Lack of Godzilla, especially in this episode. We don't even get to see him. So
it's okay.
No, it is fine. We got to see Kong being a big old mean dirty ape. But still, good stuff is to come. I'm not really a big thinker, so I'm just kind of here to look pretty and enjoy things. And I don't have a huge prediction. Just Eric, you just made a valid point. And I really like your idea. But when I was doing the watch party last night, somebody kept actually mentioning that. So somebody else had that same thought process. They're like,
okay.
I wonder if they're going to make Mechagodzilla in this season. I was like, So somebody said that last night when I was doing it on Twitch. Gotcha. They said, I wonder if this is the outpost they make Mechagodzilla on, because Apex is the one that opened the portal and saved our main characters at the end of season 1. So that idea did get thrown out there by somebody else.
Well, like I was talking about the ending of King of the Monsters, the newspaper clippings and news headlines talks about a mechanical giant being built on Skull Island. Well, that news drop or whatever is clearly from the events prior to King of the Monsters. So maybe I like that. I like that. I actually have a prediction myself.
Oh, okay.
I think that and I have no idea who. I really don't. I have a hunch that we are going to get another Toho monster in this season.
Really?
I do.
Wow.
I okay, and it all comes from, this is a prediction or a whatever that I've had just only for a few days. I saw somebody post an article, and I can't remember who it was by. It could have been GodzillaMovies.com or Skyfed. How do you say that website?
Scyfed or Sci-Fi? Yeah, gotcha.
Whatever, the one that makes me dyslexic. And it talks about how in order for the Monsterverse to grow and not burn out, even though it's very exciting to have the Monsterverse continue to grow with, you have the movie franchise, but now you're also having Monarch. But let's be honest, the movie franchise is Godzilla and Kong. The TV franchise is Godzilla and Kong. You're going to burn out. And in order for them to turn this into something as successful, or, in maybe not as successful financially, because the Marvel films were, major blockbusters, but in order to keep the longevity of it, you have to elevate a different monster besides Godzilla and Kong. You have to have something else, another monster that a TV show or a movie can be centered around that can draw the audience. And unfortunately, there isn't really one out there outside of Godzilla and Kong. Rodan's kind of well known, Mothra's kind of well known, are pretty well known, right? But can they carry an American, and that's the key, an American TV show or movie by themselves? And I think the answer right now is no. So they need to find a way to either reintroduce them in a very major pivotal role and give them equal screen time to Godzilla and Kong, and then branch out their own TV shows and movies or something. Or they need to start creating original kaiju that stick around for more than 10 seconds in a movie. A lot of people liked the design of Behemoth, but he hasn't done anything in a movie. People aren't going to go tune into a TV show about Behemoth. I would, you would, all of our listeners would. But Mel, no. She'd be like, no. What? Are you kidding me? That's no way. You know, and they need to find some way to elevate other characters to at least in the ballpark of a Godzilla and Kong. And I think that is the Monsterverse's biggest problem. So with that being said, my hunch is that they will introduce a Toho monster of some kind besides Godzilla. Now that very well could be they introduce Rodan. They could introduce Mothra. They could introduce, I don't know, Anguirus. I don't know who, but I think that they realize they have that problem, especially with the Lee Shaw spinoff that's coming probably next year or something. They're going to need to have some monster, and I think that if they could introduce a Toho monster, hell, maybe it's Titanosaurus. That'd be awesome. And Titanosaurus maybe doesn't make it to the movies yet, but he could make it to the Lee Shaw film or TV show. And he's the main monster that they're tracking and discovering and following and whatever there. And then he shows back up in Monarch season 3 for a few episodes and maybe helps out Godzilla, maybe helps out Kong, maybe helps out whatever. And then, you know, maybe he's not in Supernova because Supernova's already done filming, but maybe he's in the next one, you know, and they can keep building up because at the end of the day, again, we might not get tired of seeing Godzilla and Kong every season, every movie. The general audience is going to want other guys. They will get bored. And I think that's what the secret to the longevity of the MCU was. You only saw the team up in the Avengers, but you had the solo Iron Mans and the Thors and the Captain Americas, et cetera, et cetera. And they have their Iron Man. They have their Captain America. They need their Thor. They need their Hulk. They need their Black Widow. They need their et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I don't think they have them yet. I think they have them, but they need to build them up.
Yeah.
So that's my prediction, is that a potential Toho monster that we've already seen being brought back and reincorporated into stories, or a Toho monster we have not seen taken over, and hopefully maybe getting a movie of their own or a TV show, or showing up more to being able to carry some of the load themselves. So,
yeah.
All right. Well, we've gone an hour and almost 20 minutes here on the first episode of Monarch.
Longer
Samson,
than the episode.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, longer than the episode, but it was a great discussion. It was a lot of fun. It was a great first episode. Set the pace, set the tone, answered a lot of questions, but honestly asked even more, which is exciting. That's what makes it fun, is all those what ifs and what can or will or could happen next. So, Samson, any last questions, comments, concerns, or topics before we get out of here?
I don't think so. I just can't wait for next Friday or Thursday, depending on what they do, like they did this week for us. Because that was like we all of a sudden looked online. We're like, oh, never mind. All right, see you guys. Get off the phone, and we're gonna go watch this.
Samson, I have homework for you since you really didn't be able to think of a prediction off the top of your head, which is totally fine. Next week, when we do episode 2, I want a prediction for the rest of the season. And then we'll reevaluate this. That'll be a fun little gimmick we'll do. We'll reevaluate it every week to see whose predictions are close, whose are far, who's absolutely crapped the bed, and who's didn't. Eric, before we get out of here, any last questions, comments, concerns, topics you want to talk about?
No, man, it's exciting. I'm really excited for this season, way more than the first season. It's off to a banger start, honestly, right out the get-go. No time wasted. I love that. So it's going to be hard watching this every week and not binging this, because I just don't. This isn't the way I watch stuff. So it is different for me, but I'm willing to go through it episode by episode here and enjoy it. Honestly, I will enjoy it because there's a lot going on in the trailer. There was a lot going on, and we just got just a snippet of what's going to be happening, and I can't wait to see what else they do with Titan X, why she is, where she comes from, why she's doing what she's doing, what's her motives, all this kind of stuff, and then you sprinkle in Kong and Godzilla. So it's going to be an epic season for sure.
Didn't you grow up in the 90s like me? We had to wait every week for new episodes of stuff.
Yeah, but now he's spoiled.
Yeah.
I know, because of the universe we live in now. Everybody's spoiled. So
yeah,
I know. I'm right there with you. But we don't have commercials.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. All right, that'll do it for us here at the MWA. I am Joe. That is Samson. That is Eric. We appreciate you guys tuning in each and every single week. Follow us on all our social medias and our link tree right down there in the bottom. You guys can follow us on all of our social medias. Also, you guys can see and put a little attitude on your clothing for our link tree, the T Public shop right down there. Captain Gordon says, don't be a hoe. Share our show. We are the Monsters with Attitude, and we have a little phrase. It is one phrase, 3 words. Embrace the attitude.
Attitude.